Record shall reflect that Superintendent Dr. Jaime Aquino is also present. Mr. Ramos will lead us in the pledge to the U.S. and Texas flag.
Be ready to see Joyce.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
The next item is citizens' presentation, and this item has a time limit of 60 minutes maximum. Citizens are offered an opportunity to address the board at public meetings with comments and concerns related to the district business and public policy. Citizens wanting to address the board are required to register at the sign-up sheet found at the entrance of the meeting room. The sign-up sheet was made available 1 hour before the meeting and removed at the beginning of the meeting. Only citizens who have completely and timely registered on the sign-up sheet will be called to speak. We do ask that when you're called upon, only the speaker approach the podium. We respectfully ask that you do not approach the board dais. Any handouts for trustees may be provided to our board service coordinators over here. Citizens are invited to read the notice on public comments found on the board's page on the district website and for a more detailed explanation of the rules of procedure to be followed under this section of the board meeting agenda. However, I would like to read certain provisions as emphasis on the rules of procedure for addressing this board this evening. Citizens requesting to address the board are asked to present concerns related to district matters and/or public policy. The board requests that presentation not include statements that may be considered defamatory. The board further requests that citizens not mention student names unless the student is a child of the citizen. Each individual signed up to speak will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board, as an individual's time may not be relinquished to another speaker. Depending on the number of citizens signed up to speak, in the interest of time, to give all citizens an opportunity to speak, and by the authority granted in me by law and board policy, I may consolidate statements addressing matters that are similar in topic and that are not listed as items on the posted agenda. If more than 60 people are signed up to speak this meeting, which they're not, I will allot the time for this item for the following district board policy local. Priority will be given to those individuals who are signed up to speak on items posted on the agenda. All other individuals will be called to speak if time permits. I will divide the number of individuals signed up to speak by the 60 minutes allotted for this agenda items. All individuals signed up to speak on an item or items on the posted agenda will be given at least 1 minute to speak. I will now call up those individuals who have signed up to speak. All right, and first we have Esmeralda Rodriguez. Following Esmeralda, we have Henrietta LaGrange.
My name is Esmeralda Rodriguez from St. Timothy's Catholic Church and Cops Metro. We are greatly concerned about the current state of Carvajal Elementary and Rhodes Middle School, which are located in one of the poorest zip codes, 78207, in the city. We understand the reality of the situation facing these schools. The school district has to do something different. We need to reimagine these schools. We need to be investing in our public schools, not disinvesting from the neighborhoods that rely on it the most. Our children deserve high-performing schools. We want a high-performing school for our children. Cops Metro wants to see a public transition plan to build a new K-8 school. We want to work with the district to ensure that transition is the least disruptive to families as possible, including guaranteed transportation and clear communication on every step of the way. The option will take care of Carvajal Elementary and Rhodes Middle School, which are both facing similar challenges. COPS Metro wants to work with the school district to ensure that parents and community organizations that offer resources to the students are welcomed into the schools as partners and not excluded from the decisions-making process. COPS Metro and St. Timothy Parish continues to advocate for investments in the West Side. We worked to pass a bond in 2023 that would bring a new skate park to our community. It is currently being built. The 2020 SAISD bond money is there, but it can't stay on paper. It needs to be invested where it matters the most, our schools. Finally, Carvajal and Rhodes Middle School closed during this transition. Families must not be made to pay the price. We expect continuity and stability for our children. That means that every effort for students to remain with our current teachers whenever possible, and guaranteeing that children displaced by the closure will have first priority to return to the new K-8 school. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Henrietta? Following Ms. Henrietta, we have Noah Lippman.
My name is Henrietta LaGrange, proud member of LULAC, raised in the West Side Lanier High School. The reason I'm here is to make this board aware of closing Carvajal. It's close to my heart because I know many people that went there and Rhodes. So I think that this board suffers from lackadaisical syndrome. And if I can explain it with one word, is being lazy. Look it up, lackadaisical. It says lack of vigor, lack of interest. This is not good. If you all need help, why don't you reach out for the community? We can go out there and find out why the child is not going. These charter schools are not the best schools. What you're doing is you're taking yourself out of a job, especially the ones that are paid. You know, we want good teachers. My son is an excellent teacher. Brackenridge High School. I'm gonna age myself. It's been there more than 25 years, okay? And I'm proud of my son because he was educated in SAISD, and we still need to continue educating children. We're closing schools. Who's gonna be left? None of you. Look at that. Reach out to us. There's a lot of people that want to go out there and help. I love your look, Christina. You look beautiful. And I'm proud of you. Dr. Michael Villarreal. Oh my God, that's a blessing. And Art, always great. Stephanie, go girl. Proud of you. Let's wake up. Let's do something. You know, there's a lot of people that want to help. You all just don't know how to reach out to us. Am I passionate? You better believe I'm passionate. West Side, still West Side. Always West Side. You can't get that out of me. Do something. Call us in. You know, it's sad that you just decide to do things with, you know, there's a lot of people that want to keep it because they may not live in the district, but they went to the school in the district. Art, where did you go? Lanier? You say Lanier? Okay, if not, I forgive you. But it's beautiful being you know, because I'm an herbal doctor. 4th level master Chinese medicine, certified hypnotist. And I tell everybody, I'm Lanier High School because they say nothing good comes out from the West Side. I think I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. LaGrange. Next, Noah Lippman. Following Mr. Lippman, we have Brenda Joyce.
Madam President, board members, Superintendent Aquino, good afternoon. My name is Noah Lippman, and I seek to address the board in support of the administration's desire to close Carvajal Elementary and relocate the students and teachers to another building. I'm a nationwide consultant for College Board's Advanced Placement Program and a resident of SAISD District 2. Until May 30th, 2025, I was a master teacher advanced placement specialist at Highlands High School here in SAISD, where I taught AP US History, AP American Government, AP Macroeconomics, and AP African American Studies, and helped run the school's advanced placement program. I was a member of the Always Learning Committee, and I presently serve on the Strategic Committee of SAISD's Children's Committee. I'm a previous winner of SAISD's Distinguished Teacher of the Year Award and was recognized as one of College Board's National Teachers of the Year. Prior to working as a university professor and high school teacher, I was a trial lawyer based in New York with a nationwide criminal litigation practice that included trials here in the state of Texas prior to my retirement as an attorney. I've provided my background in order to support my knowledge and understanding of the public education system and the difficult decision that this board presently faces. At the previous board meeting, a number of local residents spoke on this issue and pleaded for the school to remain open for essentially two different reasons. These two reasons, which have some merit, were the school's rich 75-year history and its physical presence in the community made it easier for the students to travel to and from the school. What the residents did not address was the school's continued failure to educate its students and the declining enrollment, which has resulted in combining students who are in the second and third grade in the same classroom with the same teacher. As a parent, if someone had told me that my daughters were going to be put in such a situation during their most formative education years, I would have immediately moved them to a different environment. I will be the first to admit that my expertise in the education field rests at the high school and college level and not at the elementary school level. However, I can state unequivocally that the majority of the SAISD students entering the 7 comprehensive high schools are unprepared for the courses that await them. We have some outstanding scholars, but we also have a large number of students whose elementary and middle school background has not adequately prepared them to properly advance at the high school level. As a district, the majority of our high school students can't even pass the low-level TSI exam and thus face the problem of having to take remedial classes at the community college just to begin their college education, even if they speak to do that. Much of this failure can be traced back to the failing education the students received at their elementary and middle schools. This failure takes place despite the heroic efforts of the hardworking teachers and administrators who struggle every day to overcome the numerous obstacles faced by our students. A little more than a decade ago, this very board, working with a different superintendent, failed to act in closing schools despite a rapidly declining student enrollment. Our present superintendent, like me, a former New Yorker, has bravely recognized the fiscal and educational challenges that our district faces and has proposed closing an elementary school that has been given an F rating by the state for the last 3 years. I urge this board to show the same courage and meet the obstacles we are facing head on. Allowing schools such as Carvajal to remain open only increases the pain that will result down the road. Please support your superintendent and administration in their difficult decision to close the school and relocate the students to a school setting that will work for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lippman. Ms. Brenda Joyce. Following Ms. Joyce, we have Michael Valdez.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Joyas. I am a city urban planner by trade. I've been doing this for over 15 years. And I just recently moved back to San Antonio and found out that there's a lot of schools that have been closed, especially on the east side. So I started doing some research and I found out, especially on Frederick Douglass Elementary, that the community, of course, as other communities, do not want to see these schools closed. So I want to present an option to you of a private-public partnership with the school district with a nonprofit that I have just started, to where we would leave it, part of the school open as a community center, the cafeteria, the library, the facilities like an auditorium, maybe the grounds if there's play areas, and then the other part do a more of a hostel or short-term rental to be able to pay for anything that's needed for the building. So there are options up there. My background has been in helping to activate parks, activate open spaces that have been dead in the area, and then bringing and repurposing new buildings back to life from something that has been from the 18 and 1900s. So I'm open to coming and speaking with you all even more further on more specific information on some of these schools and maybe starting a public and private partnership with the school district to be able to keep a lot of these schools open for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hoyes. Next, we have Michael Valdez. Following Mr. Valdez, we have Agaput. I hate to mess up your name. Agapita Harmelo.
Her name is Agapita Jaramillo.
Agapita, okay. Close. Thank you.
Good morning. Good evening, President Sebastian, members of the board, and Dr. Aquino. I just want to speak today about why many of us are upset and confused about the proposed closure of Carvajal. We are being told that this school must close because of the accountability rating and the enrollment, but this campus has been struggling for 3 years. And the question that has not been answered is, well, what meaningful intervention did not happen in year one? Since my 4th grade cousin has been at the school, this is his 3rd principal this school year. And the accountability standards did not suddenly appear. The district knew the risks and knows the data, and it's still allowed to know, and that still allows the problem to continue. We're being told that split classrooms were a major reason for the F. If that's true, then that is something that should have ended the first year. Split classrooms should not have been allowed to continue for 3 years in a row. That was not caused by the state. That was a local decision and should have been corrected immediately. We are also told enrollment is low. Enrollment does not drop for no reason. Families leave when the programs are unstable. The school changed from an early childhood to a dual language, and low enrollment is not the cause here. It's the result of the decision that's been allowed to go year after year. Many have expressed concerns about zoning changes as also part of the problem, but zoning does not explain why families are being displaced, especially from a neighborhood school. And we're told that they cannot attend the closest campus because it's a 1882 program. And what makes it even harder to understand is that Carvajal has more students than Rodriguez, yet Carvajal is being targeted for closure while Rodriguez remains open. If the enrollment was truly a driving factor, this decision does not make sense. And right next to Carvajal is the Montessori campus. And the Montessori programs also serve multi-age students that are also split classrooms. Also wanted to address we were being told at the school that by the district that the school is at its 3rd year in the F-rated status, and that's why it needs to close. But the state won't take you over after 3 years. The state takes you over after 5 consecutive years. So that's also hard to understand. And it was very disappointing when we were at the community meeting and the district administration told the community, told the students, and told everyone at the meeting that the school's projected to fail, have an F this year because of the student scores. That was a very disappointing. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. Valdez. Agapita? Am I saying that correct? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Agapita Jaramillo. Good afternoon, board president and board member, superintendent, and I district Samir. I am disappointed to hear that failure is being projected. I do not want to see Carvajal close, but also understand the reality of the situation. It is unacceptable that parents can't get into the school. The school needs to look for partners. It's unacceptable that the school is saying we can't let anyone in because we're going to close anyway. There are many parents that want to be part of the solution if you let us. Families have had to search for their own help. Please consider a transition plan to build a new K-8 high school, a high-performing school. Let's ensure that there is the least amount of disruption as possible during the transition. Solutions exist if we are willing to think outside the box. Carvajal needs to be reimagined with the community, not for the community to invest in leadership stability. Partner with families. Students deserve a quality education. Remember your beliefs and commitments and the theory of actions of SAISD. And I know that it is an F-rated campus, but I feel that we should work on making this campus a better campus instead of closing it down, because it is going to impact the community, and there is a lot of hardships in that particular community. You know, a lot of those families don't have the method of transporting their children to other campuses. And, you know, there is that 2-mile rule, you know, but just think of this. Remember the slogan, and this is a very important slogan: children come first. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Melody Herrera. Following Melody, our final speaker will be Alejandro.
Good evening, President, trustees, superintendent. My name is Melody Herrera, and I am here tonight asking you to vote against the closure of Carvajal Elementary. After attending last Thursday's community meeting, it is very clear to me that this recommendation feels rushed and reactive, and that it will create serious barriers for families, students, and community partners who rely on Carvajal as more than just a school. Nonprofits such as Good Samaritan Center, Boys and Girls Club, YWCA work directly with Carvajal families. Closing this campus disrupts not only education, but vital support systems that parents and children depend on. I understand that there is a fear of a state takeover if Carvajal receives another F rating. However, fear should not be the driving force behind a decision of this magnitude. Closing a school because it might fail again does not address the root causes of why it struggled in the first place. Important questions should have been asked much earlier, and a clear plan should have been implemented to support teachers, students, and families. After 3 reported F ratings, why has there not been stability in campus leadership? Why has Carvajal experienced ongoing changes in principles and direction? From the outside, it feels like the school was set up to fail, not supported to succeed. What is most disappointing to hear is that the failure is now being projected. If the district can predict poor outcomes, then why weren't parents proactively contacted about MAP scores and STAR scores and given resources and concrete ways to support their children at home? Families like mine have had to search for help on our own. We enrolled my nephew in UTSA's Readers Club and other tutoring programs because we knew he needed additional support. Why is the burden falling entirely on parents? We were also promised improvements to Carvajal through the bond funding. Just back in April, during a bond update, there was no mention of closing the school. Now suddenly we are asked for feedback on why the district should choose not to invest in Carvajal while simultaneously proposing a state-of-the-art middle school. This sudden shift raises serious concerns about transparency and trust. Low enrollment has been cited, yet more than 130 students are zoned for Carvajal, but attend other campuses due to years of instability. Just down the street, Rodriguez Montessori serves 186 students and is a B-rated school. That tells me solutions exist if we are willing to think outside the box. If Carvajal needs to be reimagined, then do it with the community, not to the community. Revisit boundary maps, invest in leadership stability, partner with families, give students what they deserve, and remember your beliefs and commitments and theory of action of SAISD. Please do not close Carvajal Elementary. Choose support over abandonment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Herrera. Finally, we have Alejandro Lopez.
Good evening, President Sebastian, Superintendent Aquino, and members of the board. My name is Alejandra Lopez, and I'm proud to serve as the president of the San Antonio Alliance of Teachers and Support Personnel. I'm speaking today because later this evening, you will be discussing the potential closure of Carvajal Elementary. I know that each of you do not take the closure of a school lightly, and at last month's board meeting, when the proposal to close Carvajal was presented, several of you brought up important and valid concerns that I hope you've had ample time to dig into and consider, especially those concerns that center the need for equity and increased investments in working class communities of the West Side. I understand that district leadership's rationale for proposing the closure of Carvajal is based on several factors, including academic performance and the potential for state takeover. While we recognize the difficult position of district leadership is in. And while none of us want a situation that facilitates TEA taking over our district, I hope that we can all recognize that Carvajal should not be in this position to begin with. Many are asking, where was the support that Carvajal needed 1, 2, even 3 years ago? As someone who worked at a campus that was rated improvement needed for consecutive years, I can say that what is needed the most at a campus such as Carvajal is additional support and targeted resources. Currently, the district has a model that identifies priority campuses and assesses those campuses to see what additional support and resources they need. However, for the Carvajal community, it seems that it is too little too late. Additionally, I want to highlight an area that can definitely be improved upon moving forward, and that is the community and communication process. The district set the bar high during the right sizing process, outlining the context, the process, and timeline clearly at the onset, which helps schools' community grapple with the situation and provide thoughtful feedback. It's clear that unfortunately that did not happen in the case of Carvajal. It is this lack of care and respect that have left many teachers and staff members feeling frustrated and overwhelmed at a time when they should be able to focus solely on their students. Regardless, our union is ready to support no matter the outcome of this evening's meetings. While we're proud to be in a district where one of our guardrails is that we will embrace the community, it's also so important to recognize when you miss the mark and commit to doing better. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for your comments. We appreciate and look forward to hearing from all citizens who have an interest in the district and who come forward to express their opinions and concerns. We will move over to the posted agenda. We have item 1, under governance, 2A, supporting excellent schools in every neighborhood, interim progress monitoring goals for goal number 1 and goal number 2. And our presenters are Dr. Sean Burr and Teresa Adebaso.
Good evening, board members, President Sebastian, Superintendent Aquino. Today, we are providing progress monitoring of our interim goals for board goals 1 and 2. So just a reminder, board goal 1 is to improve reading outcomes for all students. In order to achieve this goal, we have set up 3 interim monitoring goals, interim goals. Those goals look at the performance of grades 3, 6, and 8 throughout the school year. We come here tonight to provide middle of year data for our grade 3, 6, and 8 students. Starting with grade 3, you could see beginning of year, 17% of our students were meeting grade level standards. By middle of year, this has increased to 27%, meeting grade level standards. Now, our interim target is 45%. I think it's important to note that there are 394 students in grade 3 that are at a level of high approaches. Now, why is that important? Because those students are just below where we want them to be, which is on grade level. If all of those students through intervention do meet the standard of meeting grade level standards, then that 27% could jump as high as 41%. So the next grade is grade 6. Looking at grade 6, BOY to MOY, again, we do have improvement. Similar to grade 3, we've identified 263 students at this level of high approaches. And again, with those students, with current interventions, we anticipate a potential increase of 40%, from 40% to 50%. Keep in mind, the interim target is 46%. Our middle of year performance is at 40%. Grade 8. Looking at performance of grade 8 students, again, improvement from BOY to MOY. We went from 38% of students meeting grade level standards to 42%. Our interim target is 48%. Now I want to stop real quick right here and just acknowledge that being the first year of implementing iReady, this is a baseline year. Until we realize or understand how iReady assesses our students, we are going to continue to look at this data to make sure that our target setting is appropriate. So looking at the same data, but looking at it in terms of tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 2 being 1 grade level below. And then tier 3 is broken up into 2 grade levels below and 3 grade levels below. 54% of our grade 8 students are 3 or more grade levels below where they should be. In grade 6, it's 45%, and grade 3, it's 17%. Looking at our performance compared to the national norm, Council of Great City Schools, I also have the information for Texas overall. When you're looking at district performance, you could see it's similar to Council of Great City Schools. The state of Texas is exactly equal in performance for the percentages in terms of the percent of students on grade level. The district falls slightly below that. Now, looking at English compared to Spanish, you see significant differences. Our students performing in Spanish performed much better than students in English. You can see comparing BOY to MOY, a significant increase in students on grade level when they were tested in Spanish.
Okay.
And then it would just be important to note a couple of things about this assessment. So the middle of year assessment, it tests all of the TEKS, so it's as if the year is over. So there are some TEKS that have not been taught, so that's why you wouldn't see complete grade level alignment right now. And it's also important to see that our 6th and 8th graders actually perform better on the middle of the year than last year's 6th and 8th graders at the end of the year star. So that's a promising data point, considering it's the middle of the year. And then, of course, as Teresa just mentioned, the Spanish results were much stronger than the English testers. And then it's also just important to note this is one data point. We also are collecting lots of other data points, including exit tickets on a weekly basis, including district formative assessments. So this is one data point for you to consider. And then I just want to talk quickly about our priority schools. We have specific actions for the 17 priority schools rather. So there's a high dosage tutoring that has been implemented starting in either the week before the holiday or starting today, where targeted students are being given high dosage tutoring on a daily and weekly basis. And we have also repositioned some central staff and made some changes to the master schedule at schools so that we can support schools that have additional needs that we've identified. And then just today, all the principals have turned in their rapid response plans, which will detail exactly, based upon targeted students, exactly what actions to take so that those students are given the best shot to perform at the end of the year on the STAR exam.
So Sean mentioned something very important, and I forgot to mention it earlier, and that is when it comes to predicting the STAR test, iReady currently does not have predictions for Spanish. So when you're looking at our results, it's going to look better once you include the Spanish testers and how they would perform on STAR. But right now, iReady does not provide a STAR projection for Spanish. They will next year. So I just wanted to note that. Okay. Board Goal 2. Our overall Board Goal 2 is to improve math outcomes for Black students. We are going to progress monitor grades 3, grade 6, and grade 8 for Black students. When you look at grade 3 performance, keep in mind the small number of students that are included in this data. So we do see for Black students an increase from BOY to MOY. We also know that there's 17 additional students at very high approaches that could change the 8% to the 17%. But I cannot stress enough that the numbers are very, very small. We actually provided this data for both Goal 1 and Goal 2 by campus in your appendix. Just keep in mind that the numbers are very, very small. Grade 6, looking at performance BOY to MOY, again, there is improvement. If we can capture those 28 students and get them to on grade level, that 13% could change to 31%. But right now it stands at 13% and our interim target was 36%. For grade 8 students, here you don't see any change from BOI to MOI for grade 8 students. Again, 21 additional students at high approaches with intervention, 10% could turn by the end of the year to 23%. As Sean mentioned, this is a snapshot at MOI considering the entire school year, right? So this is where our kids stand right now. Looking at the diagnostic information, again, for grade 8 students, for Black students, 64% are 3 or more grade levels below. For grade 6, 39%. And then for grade 3, 16%. Looking at how our students compare to Council of Great City Schools and the national norm, here the state of Texas did perform slightly higher than the Council of Great City Schools, but SAISD came in performing slightly lower than the Council of Great City Schools and Texas when comparing the number of students on grade level. Now, again, looking at the detailed information by race. And then we have from fall to winter. So when you see the improvements that you saw in the other slide, it's because in the fall, we had 44% of our students, 2 grade levels below, 3 grade levels below. We have decreased that percentage. We went from 8% on grade level to 22%. So we do see progress.
And this is similar, just like the other group that we just talked about. We've seen modest improvements of students moving towards grade level, but and again, the groups are small here. So all of our schools are developing plans to implement additional interventions specifically for Black students so that they can move towards their growth goals. And again, this is just one data point, and we are seeing improvement, but it needs to be more rapid improvement. Okay, and that's it. We'll take your questions.
Trustee Ramos?
During the slide, it says you are doing the heavy doses of tutoring.
Right.
My question is, why do we have to wait for so long?
Mhm.
I feel like, this is in a couple of months.
Yeah.
That we wait so long. Being more proactive, that we make people stress out, whether it's the students, the teachers, the staff. We're trying to crunch last minute. So my thought is how can we be more proactive? Because I kind of feel, at the beginning of the school year, teachers tend to know who's has a little more help, needs more help, or can struggle. So how can we be more proactive, and why do we essentially wait so long?
Well, tutoring has been going on all school year. This is just an additional intervention for students that are still not performing. And these are targeted students. These are students that are close to their growth goals. So this will help put them over the edge for the test. But tutoring has been going on all school year. This is just very focused.
Trustee Valdez?
Thank you for the presentation. My question is this: is it harder for students now during the middle of the year assessment on the STAR test, where students now have to have more reading comprehension and writing now into the STAR test as before, where it was multiple choices?
Mm-hmm.
Is it very harder now?
Yeah, the test is significantly more challenging now. And under the STAR redesign a couple of years ago, the state has a goal to make the assessment look like what is happening in the classroom. So you really can't teach testing tips and tricks like you used to be able to. You really students have to be able to perform on grade level to really get to pass the test. So it is much more difficult than it has been in the past, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Valdez. Any additional questions to my left? Trustee Villarreal?
So I read, first of all, thank you for pulling together all of this information. It's a lot of work and analysis. I also want to thank you for breaking down the results by school. And because this is how we can learn from ourselves, like where are we really excelling what can we learn from those schools? Where are their hotspots? What do we need to do to intervene? It helps us as board members to understand the lay of the land when it's broken out school by school. So thank you for that. iReady is a new exam. And we don't have a history of tracking it to predict performance on the STAR. But other schools have been using iReady. Do you know if the provider of this test has information on how predictive it is?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so
what is it?
there's a linking study. You want to?
Yeah.
There's a linking study.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the reasons why we went with iReady is because of the extensive amount of research that they have done in linking the iReady to as a predictor for STAR. So that was one of the reasons why we chose iReady. In terms of the percentage, I was trying to remember, but I can get that to you.
Do you think it's more, maybe you came upon this when you were reviewing MAP versus iReady. Did you find it to be more predictive than the MAP?
I can't tell you that yet. So let's see how our results come out this spring to really, so what we know now is what iReady tells us about their research on how it is linked to STAR. And they have extensive research that tells us this. What we don't have, and the reason why everything on here says baseline, is we don't know how it performs in SAISD. So until we have at least 1 or even 2 years, then we will feel more confident in its predictability within our district.
So at that state, with that statement, then it is, while we hope that this is predictive, or that our kids are going to do better than what it's suggesting, it's safe to say we don't know. And our kids could actually be doing worse than what it is telling us, as much as it could be, they could be doing better. Because I just want to,
Sure.
because I often hear in these presentations, the sunniest presentation of the numbers, which is slightly below. We're almost just like them. I understand the tendency to do that, but it's just important to be honest and like we really don't know. Like this is because we do not have data on this. It's a flip of the coin whether this is going to be on target or.
I wouldn't go so
off.
far as to say it's a flip of the coin. It is true that we do not know how it behaves in SAISD, but what we do know is comparing ourselves to the national average, comparing ourselves to the state average. So we feel very confident when we provide data to you that says, this is how we're doing compared to national norms or compared to the Council of Great City Schools
Well,
or Texas.
You suggest that we are similar to the metric of great city schools on reading.
Mhm.
I look at these numbers. I do not think we're similar. There is a larger percentage that are 2 to 3 grade levels below. There is a much smaller percentage that is on track on being grade level. The middle yellow bars are similar, 31 versus 32, but those extreme points at grade level and higher and below grade level by 2 or 3 grades are very different.
You are correct.
And so I
Keep in mind, though, it does not include Spanish. It does not include Spanish in these statistics, right?
Okay.
Which is the percent, I'm sorry, how much of a percentage is Spanish?
It's a significant number of our students in grades 3.
It's a meaningful number.
Yeah,
In the lower grades.
yes.
In the lower grades. Look, this is hard work. Thank you for pulling it all together. I just want to share with, because I'm in the I like reading the footprint, the footnotes and the details.
Absolutely.
But when you present to the board saying that they're similar, like it's better to just tell us what the data says and not sugarcoat it.
Understood.
And one thing I would say, Dr. Villarreal, usually we're actually more conservative. Since I've been here, always are mid the year, we outperform on the start
The
test
final,
and the final. Usually that has been our pattern. Yeah,
that's great.
but you're absolutely right. We are below the Council of Gray City School, and there is some strong research on the English. They have data, not from us, but from other districts, including Dallas and other. But yes, but it's a good caution.
And I also just want to say that at the same time, I don't want us to be obsessing about test
I know.
scores. What I think, like,
about learning.
yeah, and our teachers happy, our students happy, is the school climate, all of that really matters. But we unfortunately live within this Texas accountability system, and we are subject to being taken over if we don't hit their marks. But with that said, like as the adults in the room, like our job should be to try to manage the pressure and not let it seep down and steal the joy from our kids. Thank you, Madam Chair, for the time.
Absolutely. Thank you, trustee Villarreal. Any additional questions, trustee Garza?
I was just curious, why some of the schools aren't on this appendix. Some of the schools are missing,
Which, I'm sorry.
Burbank, Jefferson, Fox Tech.
Oh, they didn't take the IREC.
Those schools did not do this?
No, because they have the high schools could take the end of course or semester exam for their predictability. So they didn't have to take.
So do we?
Because
have
I already
any-
predicts grades 3 through 8, not end of course.
Is there any other indicator from those schools on the goals? What data are we using for how they're BOI, MOI data?
There's a combination. There are district assessments that we look at. We also have the December end of course for our retesters that we monitor. Yeah. And the yes, that's true.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
On this topic, so the reason why we see some high schools on this list is because those students are taking a lower level exam.
Because there are some high schools
Yeah,
here.
they're taking-
Right.
It's optional for high schools to do it because they take end of course exams, but ninth graders, if they have had trouble in the past, we ask them to take it, but it's a different assessment for end of course. And there's also different metrics tied to end of course that are tied to graduation. So there's different level of motivation in our high schools for students to pass
And
their
we're using it
end of
for
course exam.
intervention,
Yeah.
right? We're using it for intervention.
It's just because I saw like Highlands with 322 test takers and Edison only 66. Or Lanier, no, I guess, yeah, that kind of stood out, just how some schools' numbers were super low in terms of.
Because it's optional.
It's option.
Oh,
So some high schools are.
Yeah.
Make more kids take it.
So if that's the case, then why is that information beneficial to this? If it's optional? Because it's not giving us a full sample to be able to really get a good read from, correct?
Yeah, this is really just a report of everybody who tested.
Okay,
Right,
so
so
this is just
everybody who
extra.
tested is
Okay.
provided here. We didn't want to leave anybody
I
out,
see.
but I totally understand. It's hard to gauge when not all the schools are on here.
Mhm.
So-
And also part of that, remember that the 3 interim goals are 3, 6, and 8,
Not high school.
that not high school.
So, okay, so I think I would suggest that when we're reading this, then we keep it right, because now it's gonna raise other
Yeah.
questions, why they're in
Yeah.
here and what, so if we can keep it,
Yeah,
the data specific to those grades, then that'll be helpful. And then if on other reports.
Yeah, so what we do, because I think we got guidance from the board, is on the body of the presentation is only referring to the grades of the goals. Anything in the appendix includes everybody, because we heard that you wanted to see so that's why we put the rest of the appendix. We tried to separate it.
I see. Okay,
Yes.
so that's in the appendix.
And the appendix, yes.
All right, so we need
Is it-
to really focus on.
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Okay, trustee Villarreal, you have one more?
Yeah, on the same topic.
Yeah.
So is it more of a reflection of this sending school? Like the students in ninth grade at one of these high schools that is 3 levels below grade level. That's really not they've been at the high school for a couple of months before they took this exam.
Correct.
They spent 3 years at a middle school.
Yeah.
It really is a reflection of the middle school, not the high school.
And even the elementary school.
even
Because
the
they've been with
elementary
us
school.
For, many kids have been with us their whole career.
Yeah.
And they're far below grade level.
Yeah. So in terms of reporting, it might be something to consider. It might be useful to, instead of labeling the student in the high school that they're in, or maybe you can also give them the high school, but also put slash
Where they're-
middle school.
Mhm.
Where they're coming from, because that I think is more of a reflection on the school that they were previously at had a lot more time with them than the high school.
Before we move on, I do have a question about the exit tickets with the universal curriculum. Are we seeing any of this, or is this where we're pulling this information from? How are the teachers now using it to pivot? Because we did hear a lot in comments of, questions about preventative measures, the way we won't find ourselves trying to figure out how to dig ourselves out of these challenges with academics. What are we seeing and hearing from?
Yes, so
those?
we pull that data every week. They take an exit ticket and it really measures where they are in the curriculum. And so what they use that for is like, if this week, I'll just say an example. If they're teaching fractions this week and the school notices that the passage rate is low, then they're going to use that data in their PLCs to go back and reteach those TEKs. That's how we plan for intervention. So we have a calendar. We know the TEKs based upon this data. And like I said, we have other data points. That's the data point I'm talking about. Exit tickets. We have district formative assessments. We have lots of assessments that kids take, but that is what it's used for. So we have prepared right now for the run up to the STAR, the TEKs that are highest priority that kids have not done well on based on exit ticket, based on this, and that's how they're crafting their intervention.
And the other piece that I'm going to mention, because Vice President Martin had mentioned this in several meetings, like we actually have provided each campuses by classroom. Like we know that this is the performance by classroom, and we have identified, Teresa has put, these are the teachers that we need to provide additional support because they're way below the average compared to their peers. So we have that level of granularity in our data.
I think I may have asked this question before. Are we situating students to where they're able to be partner maybe with a student that can assist them that's on a higher level,
Yep.
or where
We've-
there's a mix where they can kind of motivate each other?
Correct. And we've also made some changes at the semester. We made some changes in teachers. And and some schools are doing things like they have, the third grade, we'll just say third grade. And maybe you're really good at teaching fractions and Mr. Valdez is really good at teaching whatever. So they're going to, even if they're not your students, you're going to see those students for intervention to teach fractions and Mr. Valdez is going to see them to teach his proportion or whatever. So they're creating flexible groups at schools so that they can maximize the teachers' expertise.
Thank you for the questions. If there's no further questions, we'll move on to item 2B. We have been made aware from council that it would be best for us to get legal consult before we take we listen to the presentation on this item. So I am going to usher us into closed session. The time is now 6:30. The date is Monday, January 12th, 2026. And the Board of Trustees for the San Antonio Independent School District will convene in closed session as authorized by Chapter 551.071 of the Texas Government Code to consult with legal counsel on legal matters related to agenda item 2B. Update on Carvajal Community Meeting. No action will be taken in closed session.
Recording
So we'll be-
stopped.
There's any action.